profoundly you've been humbled, how embarrassed or ashamed you are of your past, the truth is this. He cried out saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched out his hand and caught him. Immediately Jesus stretched out his hand and caught him. I came to tell you tonight, friend, Jesus is able. He is able to pull you out of your shame. He is able to pull you out of your captivity. He is able to pull you out of the mistakes of your past, out of the repetition you've been in. He's able to pull you up out of the sin cycle that you've been caught in, and you thought it was too strong, and you thought you've been stuck in it for too long. But I have good news for you. Jesus is stronger. Jesus is more faithful. Jesus is able. He is able. He is able to set you free tonight. Oh, thank you. Would you guys stand up on your feet tonight? I'm closing. Oh, Father, I thank you. I thank you that you are not done working tonight. I thank you, Father, that you are still calling people out of their unbelief. You are still calling people to step out of the boat of complacency, step out of the boat of normalcy. You're calling people to step out of the boat of commonplace Christianity and to display to the world what real glory looks like. Father, I thank you that you are not letting these people settle for just being another face in the crowd, just being another teenage statistic, but you are calling them, Father, to be the manifestation of your glory in the earth. You are calling them to be the example of the heart and the soul of Jesus Christ, your Son, to an unbelieving world. Oh, Father, I thank you that we are not forgotten. I thank you that we are not alone. Even if it feels like it, we are not alone. You have not left us here by ourselves, but you are with us. You are with us. You are with us. Oh, thank you. Beloved, I know that you have failed over and over again. I have too. I know that shame and guilt and condemnation have tried their best to convince you that it would be better for you to just let go of Christ and to sink into a normal life of compromise and complacency. But tonight I can see his hand is stretched out once again to keep you from drowning, to keep you from slipping under. But you're screaming out, but I don't deserve it. I brought this on myself. But his hand is stretched out for you. And you're screaming, but I'm not worthy. There's so many other people who are more deserving of this than me. But his hand is still stretched out for you. And you're saying, but he saved me from the same situation so many times. I can't keep asking for it, but his hand is still stretched out for you. And you're saying, no, I'm too dirty. I'm too dirty. This sin is too dark, but his hand is still stretched out for you. Oh. He is faithful. He is faithful even when you are not. God, if you remember one thing, remember that He is faithful even when you are not. There's a good friend of mine, a young girl we've been pastoring for a couple years. She got a boyfriend recently, and he got her pregnant. And she was so ashamed and so embarrassed. And she said, man, I know better than this, and we were living in sin, and I'm so ashamed of myself. And I sat her down and I said this, listen, yeah, you were in sin. There's no excuse for that. I'm not going to pretend like that's not the issue. But how crazy is it that God, in response to your sin, would bless you with the honor of being a parent? It doesn't make any sense to me. This is backwards kind of love. That God would repay our rebellion with kindness. God would repay our dirt with love. That He would repay our dishonor with honor. This is God's love. It doesn't make sense to us. It doesn't add up. It's a love that that doesn't follow the guidelines or the standards of any love you've ever experienced on the earth. But I promise you, it's a love that you have not exhausted. Your sin is not too dirty. Your darkness is not too dark. God still loves you. He still sees you. He still thinks about you. And he's still seated at the right hand of the Father, making intercession for you. Now, you may be afraid of what comes next, but his perfect love casts out fear. Huh? You may be afraid of what comes next, but his perfect love casts out fear. And you may be weak, but his strength is made perfect in weakness. You may be weak, but his strength is made perfect in weakness. Brothers and sisters, I want to tell you that when you leave this place, there is a world that would love to see you fail. And we're not going to give them the satisfaction. We are not going to give them the satisfaction of seeing us fall on our faces. The world needs to know it was never about us anyway. It is, it always has been, and it always will be about Jesus getting what he deserves. So before you leave this place, you guys can be seated. Before we leave this place, I want you to hear we made a video that we're going to send you out on before the worship band comes and plays another song for you. And before you go out into the world, when you're surrounded by people who would love to see you fail, when you're surrounded by people who would love to see you give up and shrink back from your faith, when you're surrounded by people who would love to see you walk away from Jesus and fall flat on your face and embarrass yourself and embarrass the kingdom, I want you to understand that he is worth it. Even if they hate us for it. Even if it's uncomfortable. Even if it's costly. Even if it's inconvenient. Even if we lose our friends and our reputation and our social status. Even if our family turns their back on us. Jesus is the only one who is worthy of our praise. So we give it all to him. Even if it costs us everything. I bless you, my family. Go and change the world.